everyone, I'm MaryAnn. I'm a visual artist and voice coach from Singapore, currently in Singapore, and welcome to another installment of my weekly vlog series, Live Your Dream. So this is where I share what I'm learning in my journey as an artist, as a voice coach, as someone who's all about creating a worthy and meaningful purpose for myself, pursuing my dreams, going after whatever it is I'm passionate about, and ultimately I want to live the best life that I can possibly live. So you might be in a similar kind of journey, trying to figure out your own path, trying to go after something that truly matters to you, and it is definitely not an easy journey. Of course it's always easier said than done. So I'm recording whatever I am learning into my journey every single week as a way to inspire, motivate, encourage you as you go about your journey, and at the very least to remind you that you are not alone, because I'm here every single week making a video sharing what I've learned. So if you have questions, feel free to ask them in the comments, or you can also directly message me through any one of my social media links which you see in the write-ups attached to these videos. So I was having a conversation with my mom a few days ago where we were just talking about life and stuff, I guess. And so she was saying that, sometimes people would ask this question, which is something along the lines of, if you could go back in time, like if you could go back 20 years, 30 years, what would you do differently with your life? And to her, it's like, this is a ridiculous question, because what has already passed is like, it's in the past. You can't do anything about it. You can't go back and change things. You can't undo your mistakes. You can't, unmake the choices that you've made. And it's all a lot of just speculation of how things could be different. But the reality is that, you are now living the consequences of whatever choices you made however many years ago. And so I was also like on the same page with her. I was like, yeah, that's like no point looking back, and like it's really a ridiculous question, because then people start going into thinking about how they wish things could have been, and maybe regretting some of the decisions they have made. And personally, I'm not saying that like I don't regret stuff, because it is a very natural human it's a very natural human thing to regret things, okay? There's totally nothing wrong with having regrets. But I realized, after I reflected upon the conversation with my mom, I realized that actually, even though the past is in the past, right, our future is still unknown. It is still unwritten. And while it is not exactly helpful to kind of look back and be like, oh, if only I had done things differently, if only I had made wiser choices, if only I had taken better care of myself, blah, blah, blah. We don't want to get stuck looking back on the past and wishing things could be different, regretting stuff, or if you had good times, reminiscing of the good old glory days and how you wish things could be like that now. It's not, looking back at the past is not so much about, all these things, but rather what I realized is that this question of, if you could change things in your past from like years ago, is actually a really valid one in terms of how you want to figure out your future. Because your future hasn't been written yet, and whatever it is that you're going to do now would change and shape your future. Whatever choices you make now, you're going to suffer the consequences or benefit from the consequences years later. And so when we ask ourselves, if you look back on your life knowing what you know now, what is it that you're going to change? What is it you wish you would have changed? It's actually a way for you to reflect upon the mistakes that you've made or the lessons that you've learned. And a lot of times the answer that you give actually points the way forward for you. So taking myself as an example, one of the things that, knowing what I know now, and when I look back, that I wish that I could have done, and I wish that I did do, is that after my first solo exhibition as an artist in 2013, I did not ride that momentum. Like what I see now, what I could have done was whatever, I sold like a bunch of paintings from my first exhibition. I made, a lot more money than I ever did in my entire life, unexpectedly for a first time, exhibiting artist. And what I should have done was use that money to book that same venue again, or to even like go rent another space or something and organize my next exhibition and ride that momentum. And I basically didn't do that because I was in a place where I was not very effective with my time management. I was not very disciplined as a person, and of course I had to go through a whole journey of, you know, getting trained up and solidifying my foundation as a functioning human being. So I don't regret any of my journey because I understand why it has played out the way it has, at least, you know, to the level that I can understand it based on hindsight. But one thing definitely as an artist that I wish I would have done was, you know, to invest whatever I had earned from that first exhibition to do a second one. And then, you know, whatever I earned from that to do a third one and a fourth one and so on. And so if I were to look at that now, instead of harping on, oh, you know, I should have done that and I regret not doing it, it actually informs me of what I can do moving forward. And that is, you know what? It's time to do another exhibition. It's time to actually take that lesson that I did not learn at that time and really put it forward into my life. So if now I'm, you know, currently I'm working on a 100-day challenge, creating 100 illustrations every single day for 100 days, then at the end of that 100 days, it is actually a very opportune time for me to go and do an exhibition and to show these works, or to do a project and to show these works, or whatever it is. So the key thing is that, you know, it's about taking action to actually make something happen. And after that, to take further action to ride on that momentum, to continue making something happen so that I don't, you know, stagnate, so that I always have like a plan moving forward. And that was the real lesson that I needed to learn from, you know, looking back at this mistake that I made. It's that I did not have a plan moving forward. And because I didn't have a plan moving forward, I did not, you know, I did not know where to go, and I didn't invest whatever I had earned into the next stage of my career, or the next project of my career. And so now that I know that, then it's about, you know, how do I put that in place in whatever it is that I'm doing. So whatever it is that you are looking back on your past and wishing that you had done things differently, it's really a lesson in itself for you to learn. And when you can figure out what that real lesson is, then you can put that forward into your life moving forward. Because whatever it is that you're going to do now is going to shape your tomorrow, and it's going to shape, you know, weeks from now and like years from now. And it doesn't really matter what this thing is, you know, as long as whatever it is that you wish that you had done differently or wish you could have done differently, you know, in the different domains of your life, like be it, you know, keep in touch with certain friends more, or like, you know, maintain your close relationships a lot better, you know, taking better care of your health, exercising more, yeah, going after whatever it is that really matters to you. It's never too late to start taking action towards whatever that thing is and to start making changes in your life. And whatever it is that you are regretting and wishing that you had done differently, that is a clue for you as to how to move forward. So even though I still don't quite like the question, because I rather look forward than look back. But sometimes it is important to look back also on the mistakes we've made, on the things that we could have done better, and see how we can bring that forward into whatever it is we're working on, moving forward into the future that you want to create for yourself. So if you have enjoyed today's video, subscribe to my channel on YouTube, and if you have any questions, feel free to ask them in the comments, or you can also message me through my links in the write-ups attached to these videos, and I will see you next week.